Well, Walt, you look like the guy from South Park who plays the online games. You showed me that impression once.
Oh, fuck that shit. I'm not that bad.
You know what?
I look at me.
You guys want to know what the best part is? That I already started recording this. So
That's what we do.
That's fine.
Stuff you don't plan is more funny than anything else.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I'm a little disappointed we're not doing the video because I want to do like the Black Scorpion for you.
Are you wearing face paint right now? Is that what you're saying?
You're not stop me. I'm looking for Inspector Gadget.
I don't know who you are, man. I don't know.
I'm Shockmaster as well. Same voice.
No, this is already one of the best interviews I've had on the show. This is fantastic. All right, so for the quick introduction, I am on the phone, or not on the phone, but I put it on the phone on the graphic, so you're on the phone. They don't have to know the truth. With the Curtain Jerkers, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Hello, Tim.
It's Walt and Scott. I've known these guys for freaking years, so this is fantastic. And I wanted to start by telling you guys a story, and I don't get the chance to really tell stories with wrestling terminology anymore, since I don't wrestle anymore, nor do any of the people at the bank I work at really understand wrestling terminology. So I felt like this was a good opportunity to do so.
Nice.
So today I bought a grill. I went to Home Depot, and it was really cheap, which was fantastic. But the part of the story that you're gonna love is that we took me and my girlfriend's dad. We took the grill, we put it into the back of the truck, and we were trying to figure out the best way to tie it. So I said, well, it's pretty windy, so why don't we just tie it from the handle and then to the back of the truck, because there was two little holsters with the pulley things, you know what I mean, where like you squeeze it or whatever.
Yep.
So when I did that, I didn't realize that it was going to be Shawn Michaels from the Royal Rumble 1995 when he was driving down the street, because all of a sudden he decided he was going to skin the cat. The ladder did, and then he held on, like only one of the foot hit the bottom, because
one foot hit the ground.
Yes, yeah, because only one foot.
Did the Bulldogs music hit real quick before they realized?
Yeah.
Yes. So I got a brand new grill. It's already lost a foot on it. I had the thing for about an hour, maybe, and yeah. Besides that, I just figured that this would be a good way to break you guys in. So a lot of things have changed with the Curtain Jerker Show. You guys have been doing this podcast for how long?
Just over 2 years, maybe like almost 3. God,
we weren't really directly. We were completely involved in the last year and a half or so. We were more on board as consultants at that point.
Right. Yeah. Producers. Because of scheduling issues, it wasn't for anything else. It was fun being on the show when it first started. The schedule was a lot different, so we could be on there anytime. And Walter and myself, we were mostly on that show just as voice actors and to do comedy skits and things of that nature.
Help get them interviews because we have friends in the business.
Yeah, we know a lot of people.
You guys get some pull. Yeah.
So that was mainly that job there, and then unfortunately, just time became a factor. We couldn't get on as much, and Tom Clark, who was the producer of that show, and he works with us on another show we do every week called the Necrocasticon on Project Entertainment Network, where we talk horror and heavy metal. Every Monday it comes out for everybody to listen to.
That was a good plug, by the way. Very good plug. I liked it.
Yes, very smooth. No silence.
Right in
Suddenly
there.
throw that in there. Right in there. So yeah, Tom was doing he does a lot of other stuff on the network. He produces several of the podcasts. He doesn't directly participate in them, but he produces a lot. And he's a writer by trade too. And he hasn't really had much time to really hone down and do that stuff. He's got a lot of ideas, but not the time.
And he's got his DJ business.
Yeah, his DJ business too. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot of irons in the fire. So I went to him about the possibility of him handing the reins over to Walter and me to take over the Curtain Jerkers podcast, and graciously he said yes. We're changing the format. A lot of the show was comedy based. Like I said, we did skits. The voices we did were reflections of various different levels of wrestling fan.
Right.
We had super uber marks, and we had people who didn't necessarily know much about the wrestling business but watched it occasionally, and all the
Japanese
voices
wrestling marks.
Japanese wrestling marks, yes. So all our voices kind of encompass those types of people. But now we're changing up the format. We're going to get more topical, and we're going to have a weekly panel discussion on various topics, whatever it comes to mind. It could be a particular wrestler, a tag team, a moment in wrestling history, a pay-per-view, whatever it's going to be. And I think what's most interesting about the podcast is that we have a dichotomy of opinions. You have our buddy Steve Mesa and Brian Burton, who's the Viking helmet guy.
Oh, yeah.
They're longtime diehard fans, and they have that perspective. Walter and I, longtime diehard fans, but also haven't been involved in professional wrestling.
Right,
so
right.
we have a different perspective of it as well. So we can present a unique experienced perspective on pro wrestling's past, present, and future. That's the plan of the show.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one of the good things that that I've always enjoyed having conversations with you guys about wrestling is that not only are you admittingly that you're fans, but being inside of the business, it gives that insider perspective. So that's one of those things that not a lot of people get when they listen to the wrestling podcast, unless you're listening to like a Jericho or some of the ones from when they like when Piper had his before he passed away and things like that. So it's awesome. It's what I mean.
You're putting us on the level of Jericho and Piper. I'm fucking flattered, dude.
Totally. We're nowhere near that level. Trust me.
Holy schmoly, that's great. I like that.
To be real, I've never been a Piper guy, even when he was alive. And I'm not talking smack, but I just kind of thought his podcast kind of sucked. But he still did have that perspective of like being at WrestleManias and stuff like that. So I get what you're saying. I know that Slam All Star Wrestling had very similar shows to a WrestleMania, so I know that.
Yeah. Being a main event in front of 50 people equates to working WrestleMania, of course.
Tri-State Wrestling and World of Hurt Wrestling in Schenectady in the converted bowling alley. Although they bring about 100, 150 people in though. So
that's like King of the Ring 1995. So
yeah.
You probably get paid just as much, and that's not a knock. That's not a knock. That's probably a direct fact.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I did want to ask you guys what you with the latest wrestling news on Finn Balor being taken from his spot, right, in the Royal Rumble. Whatever, if it's true or if it's not, we'll see how time plays out. But what did you guys
speculation?
Yeah, what did you guys think about that main event match in that show? Because for me, it just didn't seem like to me that Finn really gave a shit. It seemed like he didn't even really want to be there. So I if I was Vince, I would have probably done the same thing and probably pulled him from it. Because I even remember like Triple H coming out and he puts up the too sweet and he like basically just kind of giving Finn the rub. And I was just I just like the Finn barely like put his hand up and it was just like, what's the point if you're not into it, bud?
I don't know. It's.
Are you talking about pulling him from the match with Lesnar?
Yes. Yeah.
I think Vince did him a favor.
Yeah, I think so too.
What's going to happen. I mean, yes, the IWC, who, Tim, if you're on my Facebook page, I love getting under their skin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I post something. They all come crawling to me with hatchets and torches and shit, ready to kill me. But I think Vince did him a favor. Why? Because what's going to fucking happen in that match? Balor or Brock is not going to be eating a coup de grace. Okay. No. Balor is going to probably go maybe 10 minutes at best. Brock is going to hit about 12 or 15 suplexes. Balor will get a couple, comeback spots here and there. Maybe tease a coup de grace. Maybe hit it, get kicked out, and with a kick out at 2. But we know Balor's going to be eating an F5 and getting pinned next opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And it's funny too. Like, I've listened to I forgot whose podcast it was. Oh, it was the Solomon. So I don't know if you guys listened to his, but he was talking about how WWE.com had put a poll out, who should Brock face next, right? And it was like Braun was on there, And he got like second place. Roman was on there and he got like dead last. And all these other, there was like 4 other people on there, and the guy that won it by 67% was Finn Balor. So, and you know, he said, you know, probably in the same regard to what you're saying, Walt, with like how the internet, the IWC is very crazy on you know, these guys from Japan. He thinks that once they found out that this was even happening, that they just kind of blew it up for Finn to kind of go over in that sense. But Finn, at the same time, he's been very passive aggressive online on Twitter. If you guys have seen any of that.
In my opinion, Finn is only really over when he's the Demon. That's my opinion.
Well, that's the way they've been writing him on television. You know, right. when he's Finn Balor, regular normal guy, he has regular normal matches, and they kind of put him in that position of being just to be there to entertain. When they push a storyline like they were going to do with Bray Wyatt, with the Demon versus Sister Abigail and all that stuff, then it enhances the Finn Balor character when he brings out the Demon. They don't have enough momentum behind Finn right now in order to put him in the ring with Brock at the Rumble, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They'd have to give him another solid couple months, putting him in the ring with guys to get him over to that level to where he could be considered a threat to Brock Lesnar. Right now, I don't see anybody seeing Finn as a legitimate threat. Now you say, well, you know, that's not important. It's wrestling. It's not real. Well, F you for using that terminology, because anybody, all 3 of us included, been in the ring, tell you it's not freaking fake, folks. It fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. Can I swear? Is that okay?
It's on the internet.
I've already dropped.
My advertisers aren't going to get mad if you swear today.
We're so used to doing it on our show, and people ask, "You swear? Oh, fuck yeah, go ahead." Yeah, it doesn't matter. But point being, getting back to the point there, you have to be a legitimate threat. And Finn, I'm sorry. Okay, we did a character on the Curtain Jerkers called Mr. and Mrs. Walmart, okay? Which is a term used that Al Snow would always utilize when trying to explain to people, don't always look at the business through smart eyes, to the eyes of what you've read online, or you know, if you're a fan and you read stuff online, you think you know about the business, you don't. Mm-hmm. If you look at it from the perspective of somebody who doesn't watch wrestling all the time, put Brock Lesnar next to Finn Balor, who do you think is going to win? They think the big freaking white gorilla is going to kill that Irish kid. Simple. So there's no match. There's no drama.
Right.
And they tried that already with 180-pound Daniel Bryan making 280-pound Batista tap out at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And they tried that, and I mean, it sort of worked.
It was
it only worked. It only worked because he was so over at the time, though. Like
exactly.
That's why.
Exactly.
That's why. Yeah. Finn doesn't really. He's over, but not like Rock over. Right. You know.
No.
So he's not at that level.
To beat the guy who's going to beat Lesnar and dethrone him for the title is got to be somebody at that level or damn near close to it.
Well, who is that going to be? That's the question I was going to interject, but you know, sweet segue, bro. Who's the guy that's gonna dethrone Brock Lesnar?
Unfortunately, I think unfortunately they're going to want it to be Roman.
They do. Roman is Vince's boy. Vince has his eyes set on Roman. He's looking to build the company around Roman, and he's tried before. And they're doing it back to the drawing board thing. I think this IC title run now is a way to help build up, build up Roman. Honestly, and here's my thing with Roman Reigns. I don't think he's as hated as the internet likes to perceive.
No.
First off, the boos have decreased in this recent. I don't know. It's because there's guys they hate more now, like Jason Jordan or anything like that.
Right, yeah. Right.
But the boos have decreased a bit. And also, for the longest time, for the past 2 fucking years, excuse my French again, I know we're allowed to swear, but sorry. I go out in the crowd and I see in the audience, I see Roman Reigns in Shield shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
The guy makes the company money. So I don't understand how he's not over. I know the internet hates him, but the internet hates him in the same way they hate John Cena. Okay.
Which they
and
don't
I did say this
anymore.
earlier today on somebody else's Facebook post who was actually, supporting Roman. I said it's the same way it's taken as Cena was about 10, 12 years ago. They would boo him like always. Again, internet wrestling community mentality. Oh, he's got a 5-move set because having 1,000 moves, is what makes you a great worker.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's got a 5-move set. He's subpar on the mic. And nowadays, you flash forward to now, and that same smarky IWC, their comments usually start with, as much as I don't like Cena, I respect everything he's done for the business. Or they completely, admit they're wrong and admit that John is the personification of what you want to strive to be in this business. And I think the same thing is going to happen to Roman. Not right away, but give it time. It's going to eventually happen. And it's starting to, they're inching closer to that eventually.
Yeah, as soon as they put, I think that them putting the Shield back together was the best thing for Roman.
It was.
Because
it helped a lot.
Yeah, big time.
Because it's like you had the two other guys that are crazy babyface right now that the internet freaking loves because they were on the Indies forever. So basically,
That's true.
It's true.
It's literally just like a double rub. So I don't know if that's a real term. I've never heard that term before.
A double rub.
A double rub.
You go on like these community boards. You see dumb shit like, I think Seth Rollins should go back to the name Tyler Black. He'll be so much better, and Ambrose should be John Moxley.
Yeah, and that's from people that their mom just bought them the computer 2 years ago. So basically, they don't know what the hell they're talking about,
Right.
It's like,
yeah. It just blows my mind that what fans don't understand, they are not as smart as they think they are.
No.
Because they understood the psychology, the real psychology of what is happening. If you have enough drive and passion to buy a ticket with today's prices and drive to the arena to go see a WWE house show or Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-view, you buy the ticket, you spend money on that, you drive to the building. If you bring your kids, you got to buy them something to shut them up. You sit in the chairs.
For the parking.
Pay for parking. You got to sit in your chairs. You're going there, and when Roman comes out, you're going to boo. You had all that. You spent all that money and all that time and all that effort just to go there to boo him. That must mean he does something to make you want to do that.
Yes.
That means he has instilled in you an emotional connection. Whether you admit it or not, you like it or not, he's got you.
Yes.
People, I've heard this before, and this is a little bit of a segue here. We'll take the segue off the highway here. People want to talk about Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura being buried from the Survivor Series pay-per-view. Are you and I didn't see it, though. Kidding me? Are you kidding me? They were in the main event of one of the biggest shows of the year. You know who got buried? Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Was Dolph on the show?
Nope.
That's how you bury somebody, people. That's
Not
how
to
you
mention, get a stopwatch out. Calculate how much time Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura were in that match. I had about 10 to 12 minutes for both of them. And also, when they were in the ring, what did they do? Okay. What was Nakamura doing before Braun got a hold of him and power slammed him for the
everybody.
He was cleaning house.
Everybody. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. He shot Triple H in the back of the fucking head. That's a finish right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's murder.
Okay.
That's murder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What did Bobby Roode do before he got eliminated by Braun?
Gave a spine buster to Triple H.
And he did the glorious spot. Okay.
Yes, he did.
If he got burying, would be him not finishing his glorious moniker there, and eating a pedigree and getting pinned.
Yeah.
Triple H didn't pin anybody but Shane McMahon in that match. I don't know who the fuck got buried, if you ask me.
Didn't freaking Cena put over
I do
Kurt
feel
Angle?
that
Cena got pinned by Angle.
Hello.
I do feel though that honestly Triple H definitely was in the whole match for himself though. Like from the little things, from not wearing a Monday Night Raw shirt when he came out, he wore his own shirt that was red.
You're right about that. Yeah, I mean I do see that.
But I mean that's a subtlety. Being presented for entertainment purposes. Okay, yeah, he's going to come out. He's the COO of WWE, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what did John Cena do? Did John Cena wear red or blue? No. He wore something different. Why?
Yeah.
He's a free agent. Why
Free
not
agent,
try
and
to
he's
simplify
a brand
that?
of his own. He's a brand of
He's
his
his
own.
own brand.
Let me also
Triple H, same
backtrack.
thing.
Let me also backtrack a little bit on that John Cena elimination. John Cena was eliminated by Kurt Angle. The spot was Angle did hit the Olympic Slam, and John kicked out at 2. But what happened next? Finn Balor got to the top rope and hit the coup de grace on John, and that's what got the 3 count. Kurt went to pin him again. So Finn didn't even get fucking buried in that match either. So
no,
yeah,
nobody got. And the whole match. This is another point I want to make. The whole match was to do what? Was to get Braun Strowman over. He was the one last guy standing there with Triple H. And then people want to say, oh, they're not putting over the young guys. Last I checked, Braun is newer and younger than everybody in that match.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you're putting over the new guy, whether you like it or not, folks. You're wrong. All right, he's the bigger guy in the match. He's the biggest guy, and he is the monster that Vince has always wanted. He's the new Big Show that can work, better than Big Show could at that age. That's not a knock on Big Show, because at that time he wasn't there yet. Braun is leaps and bounds farther along the line, because he got to work with guys like the Big Show, because he's getting to work with Kane, because he's getting advice from all these great people backstage. He's able to make those strides and get to that position in the business. And he's one of the best things on their television, in my opinion, right now.
Right, exactly. And I had a huge Facebook discussion about that match, on my page there. And Scott, I'm sure you saw it, and I know you didn't retort to it because, one, I'm pretty sure I was able to handle it myself, and two, just some of the answers that I was getting. I'm sure you're just laughing too hard to even want to.
I just laugh and ignore it. It's not worth my time.
Right.
No. I have to respond because I'm defending my honor, because it's my page. I'm defending my domain.
yeah. That's your copyright right there. You have to defend yourself.
Defend yourself, yes. Yeah.
So, I was just thinking, like, when you guys were talking about that, like, making Braun look strong. Clearly, they're setting. Either they're trying to set something up with him. I didn't watch Raw last night, but I know that I felt the vibe that they were trying to set something up between him and Triple H. But it also made me think, when you were starting to say, like, he's worked with Big Show and he's worked with Kane. What about him and the Taker at WrestleMania if Taker's coming back?
It wouldn't happen now, because Braun he's gone. He's in the babyface realm now. So they wouldn't chance that. What they could do is do a tag match. They could put Braun with Taker against, if they brought Big Show back as a heel and put him out there with Kane. Imagine that one. Big Show and Kane, brother against brother, one more time with Braun and Taker on one side. I think that'd be good.
That'd be crazy.
Yep. Or Braun and somebody else against the Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
Braun and like Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, or even Balor at WrestleMania, get the Demon. That's a good way to further push and elevate Finn Balor.
Okay, let's fantasy book here a little bit. Let's say Taker comes back and him and Kane go rogue. They start attacking anybody and everybody. So
they did that before in like '98 or something.
Right, and they're doing a lot of stuff now.
Yeah, they did that like 20 years ago, guys.
Right. Yeah. Well, what are they doing now? They did the brand split. They did that almost like 15 years ago.
Right.
So they're doing everything they did before. They're just doing it smarter and doing it better. So let's say that Taker and Kane start going rogue. They start attacking people on let's just say Raw. Let's just keep it simple. They're attacking people on Raw, doing their shtick. So now Stephanie, Kurt Angle, they get together. We need to put together a team that can take on Undertaker and Kane. Who do we put? Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar.
There you go.
So put those two, the guy who ended the streak and the new monster in town, the monster among men, against the Brothers of Destruction. I mean, that's freaking main event right there, in my opinion.
Right. And
I would say so.
And then at the end of the match, Braun and Brock turn on each other, and then Taker goes home, and everybody's happy.
Yep. And then you can set up Brock and Braun. Get them back in the ring together.
Perfect. So. Perfect. Yeah, and you can make their alliance uneasy right from the get-go, even with the promos building up,
Oh, Paul Heyman would be brilliant at this. My God.
Yes, yeah. And Paul will be the one to talk Brock into the match. Like, look at it this way. You already destroyed The Undertaker's legacy. How about we destroy the Brothers of Destruction? All Undertaker's got left is the alliance with his brother. Let's smash that too.
When you have a beast and you have a monster, what do you have? You have the end of destruction.
That's good. I was gonna interject before when you said let's smash them up, just like I was gonna say like Paul Bear smashed his mom. Oh, we got it.
I was quite the looker back when I was a young man. There's just allowing the Undertaker's mom.
Oh God.
She had one leg in Atlanta and one in LA.
All right.
Lawler had to apologize on the like immediately after the commercial break for that one.
All right, so this has been the Curtain Jerkers, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, plug yourself. Let the people know where they can find you for more conversation just like this.
Yep. For more stuff like this, you go to projectentertainmentnetwork.com and you can look us up on there. We're the Curtain Jerkers on Facebook. We are at TCJ Wrestling on Twitter. Please follow us and like us and do all that fun stuff. Our show comes out every Friday, 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time on the Superstation PEN, Project Entertainment Network. Myself, Walter, our buddy Steve Mesa, and the Viking Brian Burton present you that perspective about professional wrestling. We're going to have special guests on the show, independent wrestlers, big-name wrestlers, any contact we have in the business, anybody and everybody. We're going to try to get this man here, Mr. Tim Zabriskie, who was gracious to have us on his show. We're going to get on the panel sometime and talk wrestling like we love to do. So if you're a fan of wrestling, we want you. If you're a smart mark, come on in anyway.
I guess we'll take you.
We'll bring you. We got room for everyone.
So find us on the internet, folks. You'd love us. You know you would.
All right. Well, that was the Curtain Jerkers, and we will be right back. And is that place really called the Superstation?
No.
It's called the Project Entertainment Network. We're just paraphrasing it.